Hello Facebook and YouTube. Today on How Hugh, I'm going to replace a dull blade in this old chop saw. So we're going to put on a new blade. I don't buy real fancy blades because they go through too quick. I know I probably should, but I don't. So it's a 10-inch blade on an old, I think it's a Delta saw. So I'm going to show you how I replace that. First, let me show you some of the safety equipment. Okay, so you know I like gloves. You know I like safety glasses. So we're going to use those. Going to use an adjustable wrench. This is the saw. We're going to use a couple of pieces of wood. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to get my safety glasses. Even though the saw's not turned on, I'm still going to use them. Like gloves because I like to protect my hands. First thing you always want to do is make sure it's unplugged. That's super important. Nothing goes without saying, so it doesn't go without saying. Make sure it's unplugged. Okay, the one thing to know about this is this is held on by a little bolt. So let me show you a picture of that. A little nut. Bolt. Yeah, nut. No, bolt. Little bolt. Okay, so this is held on by one bolt right up there. So I don't know, it's around a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bigger. I'm going to use an adjustable wrench. Now this is a reverse thread. So instead of right tight, left loose, it's the opposite. So let's go ahead and take that off. A lot of the newer saws and smaller saws have a blade lock that makes changing these out a little bit easier. It'd be a button you hold and it keeps the blade from moving. So this one doesn't have one, or I'm too blind to find it. So I stack up a couple of pieces of wood and then I'll hold the blade down on that. So let's go ahead and we'll move the guide up as far as it goes. Go ahead and situate the wrench in there. Push that down to hold it, and then loosen it up. Might have to take off my glove for this one. You know, I forgot about one thing on this. It's been a while since I changed this blade. Let me go get another tool. Okay, I'd forgotten that this one has an extra guard inside, so I'm gonna have to remove some of these screws. They're a star bit so that I can move the guard so I can get to the nut. Okay, so let's do that. Set that off to the side. Set that off to the side. There we go. The whole thing comes off, so let's set that off to the side. That'll make that much easier. I'm starting to remember now. So just take that whole thing off, undo that. This is reverse thread. I'll show you this. Okay, so these are the pieces. This comes off of up there. That's the little screw. And then that's your blade in there. So let's go ahead. Now we should be able to really easily just pull it out just like that. Okay. Now that one's really dull. So let's go ahead and replace it. Okay, so we'll take the dull one, set it off to the side. Get the sharp one and see if we can figure out how to open up this packaging. Looks like I should be able to squeeze that little thing together and push it out, and then that whole blade should come loose. How about that? It worked. So there's the cover. The old piece. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have up here. Okay, so that's what we have inside. Now on blades, they generally, at least all the ones that I use, they have graphics on one side, and that goes where you can see them. And that's almost exclusively like that. So let me put my gloves on and get that to set in there just right. Okay, so remember these are reverse threads, so it tightens up in the direction that you would normally loosen it. Get that nice and tight. Make sure to check that you got it on there, right direction. Go ahead and we'll push it down against the wood so that locks it in place. Now the reason it's reverse thread is so that when it's spinning, it's attempting to tighten it up rather than loosen up the nut. So you don't have to use a ton of pressure on those. You know, just tight, not monster tight. Okay, so I'll put the guard back on now. Okay, so the guard can be a little bit tricky. So we'll start with this back bolt, this back nut right here. And we'll get that mostly tight. Then we'll get this front piece to slide over that. And that's a little tricky. So there we go. So tighten that one down all the way. Remember, nothing on here is monster tight, just tight. Tighten this one down. And then we'll get the back one in place. Oop. That's what happens when you eat buttered toast. Get butter on your fingers. I don't eat a lot of butter. Ate some last night though. First time in a long time. It was on some sourdough toasted bread with some tri-tip. Man, it was like freaking Christmas eating butter. It was amazing. No wonder people like it. I just don't eat much of it. There we go. So let's see if that goes up and down. Everything looks all nice and secure. Got the new blade on there. The guard works. Okay, that's how to replace 10-inch blade on an old chop saw. Out.